Subaru is currently battling 3 major quality control issues. Should you give a second thought to purchasing that new car? Subaru as a brand is just one of those brands that has the tendency to get a bad rap stuck to the name. And they've had quite a few instances of these bad issues being associated with their name, even though they're not really an issue anymore. If you talk to just anyone on the street and ask them about Subaru or what they know about Subaru, if they're not a Subaru person, they might come at you with, aren't those the cars that had issues with their CVT, and aren't those the cars that have head gasket issues? Now, Subaru's head gaskets were an issue on certain engines from the late 90s until the early 2010s, but Subaru hasn't had head gasket issues in well over a decade at this point, but the problem is still associated with the brand. Now, in more modern time, a lot of people associate Subaru with transmission issues with their CVT, although, as we've talked about in past videos, those issues were largely overblown. But now, Subaru is dealing with 3 big quality control issues at the same time that they are facing massive shortages for new vehicle production. Subaru lots around the country are empty and void of new cars, and each of these dealerships has a long list of backlogged orders that they just cannot get caught up on and cannot fill, whereas Ford, GM, and other manufacturers, larger manufacturers, have lessened the issue with their inventory, has gotten production back not quite to where it was pre-2020, but are getting back rebuilt to where they should be, although shortages and issues with raw materials are still an issue for all manufacturers. But Subaru right now is facing 3 big issues. We're going to talk about these issues and go over if it's something that maybe you should think about avoiding a Subaru, or if it is, something that might look scary on paper, but isn't actually that big of an issue. So our first main big quality control issue with modern Subarus, well, we're back to CVT issues once again. Now, they are having some concerns with CVT chain slippage and the guide for the chain breaking or coming apart. Now, Subaru has issued a notice, WRK-21, and it spells out exactly what needs to be done for Subaru owners under this recall, and it affects basically all the CVT models from 2017 to 2021 model year. Now, basically what happens, most of you will not have an issue with your CVT. You won't have any kind of symptoms, any kind of issues, but Subaru still wants you to come in and have this recall performed. There's a TSB number that goes along with it. I'll put it up in the top corner. So what they're going to do is bring your car in and they're going to check your CVT out. They're going to check your chain guide. They're going to update the programming in your TCM. And if they find issues, they're going to either replace your TCM or replace the entire CVT unit and the TCM together. Now, there have been quite a few transmissions replaced under this recall/service bulletin, and there's been plenty that have passed without any issue. It's not every single transmission affected by this, but there are some that do have the issue, some that will have symptoms with either slippage of the chain, which will result in normally a high-pitched squealing sound, or your RPMs will shoot up and the car won't move forward. But mainly, they're mild issues. So either way, Subaru has identified that this is an issue. They're recalling the vehicles. They're taking care of the problem, taking care of their customers, replacing your transmission if it needs to be replaced, repairing the transmission, updating the software, or replacing your transmission control module if that's needed. So again, Subaru does, I think, better than any other manufacturer take care of their customers, going above and beyond with warranties, going above and beyond with taking care of issues that arise, throwing out recall notices early on before they become an issue, and just staying on top of the vehicle issues that come up with their models. So issue number 2 and issue number 3 are very closely tied together, and that is from RTV silicone intrusion, or the lack of, in modern Subaru engines, namely the FA24, but has also affected the FB25 and FB20 as well. Also, I believe there's been some issues on the FA20 and the WRX. So these issues are, like I said, there's 2 main issues. One is either there's no RTV, or there's not enough RTV and your new engine is leaking oil. I have seen lots and lots of issues. Well, I say lots and lots, but anytime you see multiple issues, you kind of exponentially make it feel worse in your head. When you see an issue like this on a brand new vehicle, you know it's a quality control issue. And if you feel strongly about that brand and their quality, when you see issues like this, you kind of, go out of your head in saying that it's a big issue, even if it's not truly widespread. But the problem is that Subaru, for years, in the modern F-series of engines that have tons of RTV silicone gasketing surfaces rather than like the older EJ series engines, lots of pre-made, pre-formed gaskets, or they just didn't have as much sealing area for oil because of now needing timing chain, oil retention compared to a timing belt. It's just a different engine, and there's a lot more places for oil to leak. So in the past, Subaru has gotten on technicians about their application of RTV because it is a very crucial thing in these engines. If you put too much RTV on a sealing surface, when you put them together and torque your fasteners down, too much will goosh out, for lack of better terminology, and it can go inside the engine and outside the engine. And when it goes inside the engine, you can have a big issue. It gets into your engine oil, can wind up in the oil pan, can block your oil pickup, can do lots of damage. Now, the other issue is not putting enough of the RTV on there, and then you have oil leaks. So it's kind of, catch-22. You got to be very precise in your application, preparation, and size of application. Subaru, in their service manual, has an exact specification of they want a bead to be X millimeters in width to be accurate. So recently, Subaru swapped over the production side of their engine factory to have their robots applying the Fuji Bond, 3-bond, RTV, silicone, whatever you want to call it, because if you have a robot doing it, it's precise and accurate and always correct, right? Well, not so much. So there's been plenty of instances in the newer FA24 turbo engines in the Outback where at the first oil change, there is a pretty good oil leak, either silicone missing from the upper oil pan, the lower oil pan, or the timing chain cover, or the cam carriers. There's lots of places where it can be missing and oil can leak. So there's been quite a few posts of people having oil leaks very early on in their car. Again, it's covered under warranty. Subaru will take care of it. It's just one of those annoying things that happens that shouldn't happen on a new vehicle. You know, you're going to be without the car a couple of days or a week for the repair to be done, but it will be covered under warranty. Nothing out of your pocket, but it does make you feel a little uneasy about your new car purchase. So issue number 3 is the flip side of this, and that is way too much RTV, silicone, 3-bond, Fuji Bond in the engine, and what issues it's causing. And this is mainly being seen on the new FA24 in the GR86 and the new BRZ, as so many GR86 and BRZ owners are finding out. In the application of the 3-bond silicone, Subaru's engine manufacturing facility put way too much on mainly the upper and lower oil pan. When that happened, as we talked about before, the pieces come together and this big fat bead of silicone squishes out the sides. Now, what squishes outside the engine is perfectly harmless, other than the fact it looks bad. But the big issue is when it squishes inside of the engine and that RTV winds up in the upper and lower oil pan or in the timing cover, blocking oil passages, etc. After heat cycles, this silicone can break off these globs, these little globules, and then they will find their way into the oil pan, and before long, the oil pump's pickup tube will suck up this silicone as well. Now, when it does, luckily the pickup has a screen on it to prevent large pieces or large obstructions from going into the oil pump. But the bigger issue is as it collects this debris on that screen, it clogs and it starts to starve the oil pump and the engine of oil. So there has been a slew of engine failures in the new BRZ GR86 due to this silicone blocking up the oil pickup tube. Now there's lots of owners that have got their new car and know about this issue and have preemptively pulled their oil pans to check their pickups to find out if they have silicone gumming up the works. And a lot of them have found that there is excessive silicone around the oil pan and also clogging up their pickup tube. Now, Subaru, of course, is going to be covering this. There is a TSB on this for people to bring their car in, have an oil change, borescope to go up through the oil drain plug, checking for excessive squish out inside of the oil pan lower part, running that camera up the pickup tube and checking for blockage. If not able to do so, dropping the pan and checking that way. Now, we say that it's a big issue on the FA24 BRZ GR86, but it has also been observed on the FB20, FB25, and FA24 Turbo as well. It's not just a BRZ GR86 issue. So aside from them not having enough silicone and oil leaks, they've also had issues with the squish out, blocking of the oil pump, starvation of engine oil, and premature failures of engines from main and rod bearing failures, etc. So another big issue, of course, covered under factory warranty. With this issue, with both of these issues, with either too much or not enough RTV silicone, it is something that you would find out very early on in the engine's life and not be something that's going to pop up after the warranty period. So this is being caught early, it's being taken care of, it's being fixed under warranty. Again, I know it sucks because you were without your car for a couple of days or a week or more while it's getting repaired, and it makes you question your investment in that vehicle with off-the-hop quality control issues, which that's what these are, is issues with quality control from the engine factory or from the CVT manufacturing. But again, Subaru is head and shoulders above everybody else with taking care of their customers, taking care of warranty issues, and making sure their customers are happy at the end of the day. Now, are these issues groundbreaking things that make you avoid buying a Subaru altogether? I don't think so. It's just something that you need to be mindful of when looking at a new Subaru, that, hey, these are things that can pop up. These are things that maybe if you do your own maintenance, even though it's a brand new car, hey, take a minute and look at this and see if your car may be affected. If you catch it early, it would be more beneficial to save your engine than to have it replaced a little bit later on had you not caught it or had a technician not caught it at the dealership. So guys, there you go. There are 3 big quality control issues, technically 2, but we'll call it 3 with new Subarus. Let me know down in the comments, what are your thoughts on these quality control issues on top of the shortages in inventory with Subaru? Do you think Subaru as a brand has declined in overall quality the last couple of years? Or do you think it's an issue that kind of is across the board with all auto manufacturers in current times, not just Subaru solely? I mean, of course, I'm a Subaru guy, so I'm going to pick on Subaru about it. I'm not talking about Chevy, Ford, and all the other auto manufacturers' issues. They all have their own issues. But, you know, we talk about Subaru here. So what do you guys think? Does this information sway you away from buying a Subaru if you were thinking about buying a Subaru? Does this make you appreciate Subaru more as being a company that takes care of their customers and cares about their customers? Or do you think that, the quality control issues that we're seeing now could trickle down in further years as other quality control issues that just aren't apparent right offhand, like these two issues are? Does this have you shaken a little bit on Subaru and their quality? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you all in the next one.